Here's the drawing of the floor plan of the home that we are working on. The problem was that water was coming up through the floor inside the bathroom of the lower level. So the first thing that we do is we explore to find the existing footer tile system. The first thing we find there are two crawl spaces in this home, a main crawl space and a second crawl space. Both of these crawl spaces already have existing footer tile, as you can see from our drawing, and a sump pump with discharge to remove the water. We also discover there are exterior footer tiles along the outside of the basement wall. So why is this bathroom floor continuing to flood if there is a system in place each time it rains? What we discovered was that the footer tile systems were actually laid on top of the footer instead of below the top of the footer. We also discovered that the exterior footer tiles have no discharge, so the water just lays under the floor. At first glance, it would appear that the water that's coming under the floor in the bathroom comes from this front corner. However, there are two crawl spaces here, so we need to address all kinds of issues here. Estimate number 1, clean the gutters. An overflowing gutter will allow water to just pour down on your foundation wall, and that could be where some of this water is coming from, so we need to clean those gutters. Estimate number 2 is to install new footer tiles below the top of the footer so that the water under the floor can escape into the system and the sump pumps can take them out. Estimate number 3, install new exterior footer tiles outside with proper discharge pipe. The exterior footer tiles help protect the basement from water moving from the outside wall and coming through the wall or under the floor. So let's review things we need to do. First, we need to clean the gutters. This is a relatively inexpensive venture and it may solve the problem. Second, we need to install new footer tiles inside of both crawl spaces. We're also going to add a sump pump in here to help remove this water quickly. And third, we are going to install exterior footer tiles and a proper discharge for the exterior foundation drains. A good waterproofer will give you many options, and also they will stand behind their work. On this house, we suggested starting with cleaning the gutters and doing the interior foundation drains inside the crawl space to see if that would stop the problem. You can always add to your system and you can continue to add more, but you need to have all your options up front. To help understand a footer system, look at this drawing. Here's the footer, here's the floor. Notice that the pipe is below the top of the footer and well below the floor, and the gravel surrounds the pipe. The pipe is perforated. As water rises from the ground up, it goes into the system and is carried away. Okay, those are the basics of foundation waterproofing. So let's take a look at our video beginning inside the main crawl space behind the bathroom wall. Next, we install the footer system inside the second crawl space. Next, we clean the gutters. We also decided to add some screens for protection here. So you'll see a short clip of installing gutter screen, which is a very cost-effective way to keep debris out of your gutters. And the last segment of our video is installing the exterior footer tile discharge. We're trying to help the homeowner save a little money, so we are working in steps. And what we're doing is we're tying in the existing footer tiles to a new discharge line because there is water coming through the old system. It may be that we'll return and replace the exterior footer tiles, but for now, because cost of waterproofing is an issue, we're simply replacing the discharge line. So let's take a look at the discharge line video. Before we begin this video, it's helpful to understand an old footer tile system. You can see there are 3 pieces of terracotta pipe that we've laid out here on the ground so that you can see how this was built when it was originally installed. These pipes are 1 foot long, and all they did was basically butt them together so that they just touched each other, and water was designed to come through the separation in the tiles. Sometimes these are called field tiles, but in this case we're calling them footer tiles. These tiles were laid at the footer of your building, of your home, and they are set just below the top of the footer, surrounded by gravel, and water basically rises up through the gravel into the butts of the pipe, the little seam, and is carried away. The problem with this system, as you can see, is that debris builds up inside the pipe. This pipe's actually not that bad, but you can see how the mud will settle at the bottom of the pipe. Although terracotta is strong, you can see how quickly this pipe can break. Eddie's basically just dropping a piece of pipe on top of another pipe. The terracotta easily shatters. Okay, here we are exposing the footer tile, and we're going to clear this off and pull out these little pieces of tile. Notice that usually right along the house, of course, you're always going to find things that you have to dig under or over. These are cable wires, hundreds of them. The corrugated pipe that you see is actually a downspout drain. Notice that they're in the same trench basically. More than likely when the downspout was put in, they broke these pipes. You see how full that piece of tile is of mud. It's just slap full. You can see the water just comes pouring out of that pipe after we open that up. Basically what we're doing is we're going to give this footer tile system discharge to daylight. And that means that it's going to run downhill until it comes out on top of the ground. We now have the footer tiles, the old ones, removed, and you can see that it's exposed. Here we're continuing our excavation, just cleaning out the trench. You can see the water has begun to flow on down our trench, and we're going downhill you'll see the guys continuing the trench on out to discharge to daylight. Because we're working on the corner of the house, there are two lines to connect. You see where we've butted our pipe into the old footer system on both sides of the house. Okay, we've finished up this line. We've added our T and our discharge to daylight. Next we'll cover it up and we're done. So there you have it. We've installed several systems here, did a little cleaning, and we believe that we've solved this water problem. And if there's any problem here, these homeowners know they can call us and we'll come right back out. This is Chuck with Apple Drains in Charlotte, North Carolina.